Glad to see everybody here today. Mr. Arthur Gardner, will you please lead us in the national anthem and the Pledge of Allegiance?
Okay. Before we say the pledge this morning, I want us to remember coming up Friday is Flag Day for our country's flag, and remember to keep it reverent and take care of it as you should. Now join me in the national anthem.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alan Richards, that's our invitation.
Bow your heads and pray with me. Dear Father, thank you for this club, these men, and the goals that you've set for us. I pray that you will bless us through, strengthen us to do what you would have us to do to serve our community, to serve you as you have designed us to do. Pray this to Christ. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Alan. You may be seated. All right, Terry Duffy, Family Rotary.
Thank you very much, President Josh. Hope everybody's having a fantastic day today. I guess it's almost hot enough for everybody. Let's celebrate some birthdays. Shane Siegfield on June the 10th. Our fire chief, Larry Williams, on June 13th. Celebration of anniversary Salmon Valera on June 13th. And we got our hair on the 14th of June. Dr. Dale Goodwin and Tim and Robert Steeseman and Danielle. On June 15th, Melissa Kirkland and Ricky. Hope you all have a fantastic week. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. All right, time to introduce our guest and visiting Rotarian, Scott Childers. Please come forward.
Happy to welcome our guests and visiting Rotarians today. When I call your name, would you please stand and remain standing until all visitors are recognized? We got Edward Fountain, guest of Troy Fountain. We have Kirk Davis, guest of the club. Okay, anybody we missed? All right, we have visiting Rotarian Mike Smith, the guest of the Tuesday Rotary. Okay, well, thank each of you for visiting Dothan Rotary Club today.
All right, time for our nasty drawing, Red Bears. We currently have 565 points.
That's what I'm talking. You want to lay it?
Last score 7-5, 7-3. 7-5, 7-3. All right, eight spades. I'd like to ask Judge Mike Conway to come forward. He has an announcement he'd like to make.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
There are over 250,000 members of the Auburn Alumni Association. Of that group, there are fewer than 100 men and women who received a Lifetime Achievement Award. This weekend, one of ours was a recipient of that award, and I'd like you to stand and congratulate John Watson. But in memory of my old friend Harry Howell, Morris Slinger, and so many others, well, the few times I'll say, boy.
Thank you, Judge. All right, I'm gonna turn it over to Alan Richards to introduce our guest speaker.
Thank you, President Josh. I'd like to introduce our speaker today, Director Kenneth Boswell. Some of you may know Mr. Boswell is from Enterprise, a mayor in Enterprise for quite a while. Present position is Director of ADECA, Alabama Department of Economic and Community Affairs. Community Development and Economic Development are a strong focus of Kenneth's career in public service. Governor Kay Ivey appointed Mr. Boswell as Director of ADECA in May of 2017, and asked him to put skills and knowledge together to work in her administration to move Alabama forward. As Director, Mr. Boswell serves in the Governor's Cabinet, oversees a staff of 150, and manages an annual budget of more than $215 million. The agency has the broad responsibility of guiding dozens of grant programs for the purpose of creating jobs, strengthening the state's economic and improving the economy and improving the lives and welfare of its residents. Under Boswell's direction, ADECA has taken on multiple new roles, including broadband expansion, the electric vehicle infrastructure, and a successful 2020 census count. Boswell was serving his full term as mayor of Enterprise when he was selected to lead ADECA. Prior to becoming mayor in 2003, he served as a member of the Enterprise City Council, having been elected to the post in 2000. At that time, the city saw steady growth during his tenure and strong focus on economic development. I ask for a warm Rotary welcome, Mr. Kenneth Boswell.
You been at the highlight there. Alan, thank you so much for that kind introduction. And I think I could say that you'd made my mama proud. But ladies and gentlemen, I'll ease your minds right now. Anybody ever know the actress Elizabeth Taylor? Or know of her? We all probably remember. We know her for all the husbands that she had. 8 all told. Married to Richard Burton twice. You know what she told her 7th husband? It'll be the same thing I tell you.
I ain't gonna keep you up. It is great to be with y'all today. Like to recognize Paul Lee, Representative Paul Lee. Paul is a great advocate for Dothan and the surrounding area. Would tell you that he does a wonderful job in being able to, one, collaborate with cabinet members, and also let your voice be heard in Montgomery. Let's give Paul another round. One of the things that I told Governor Ivey when I took his job, I said, I gotta live up in. She said, honey, I don't care where you live, as long as you come to work here. That's good. Would tell you I average being on the road anywhere from 2 to 3 nights a week. I still call Enterprise my home, and it is my home. But I told Paul earlier, if he wanted to change me down here for a couple of weeks, I wouldn't mind staying. So I've been asked to give you an update. Would ask that you direct your attention to the screens and on EV, electric vehicles. I'll ask this right here. About 3 years ago, I gave a presentation to some retailers, convenience store owners, and I'll ask people in this room, and I'm just curious. How many people believe EVs are here to stay? Show me a raise hand. Okay. Well, it's gotten no better than what it was the first time. But I would tell you that there's an awful lot of money going into the EV industry from the automobile makers. So one of the things that Governor Ivey likes to say is we need to lean into the new technology for the sake of the economies for tomorrow. Would also tell you that it's projected to have 26.4 million EVs on the road by 2030, up from 2.4 million at the end of 2021. And might I add, you have an EV owner sitting here behind the post. He can probably give you this presentation a lot better than that. But just to give you an example of some things, Alabama is the top producing vehicle top export manufacturer in the world. 45,000 workers are related to the automotive industry, of 1.3 million cars and light trucks in the state of Alabama. Automotive makers with plants or facilities in Alabama have announced commitments to greatly investing in the EV in the near term. Mercedes, by the way, leading the way. Hyundai, Honda, Toyota, and Mazda. $600 billion is committed globally by automakers to focus on the next generation technology. The Southeast U.S. is a hot zone with $54 billion in 22. Just to give you an example of the history, I was given this mission, or told I was going to be given this mission after the governor went to Europe in 2019. She comes back, and we have an EV settlement, a VW settlement program that came to the state of $25 billion. And we used part of those dollars, meaning the ADECA, to go toward EV charging stations. Now, the first EV charging stations that we felt like we needed to concentrate on and put in was on I-20. Anybody be curious to know why we actually focused on I-20 first? The largest population of EV owners are in Atlanta, Georgia. So we wanted to show the industry that we were doing everything that we could do from the state, that we were supporting their efforts and their investment into the state. In 2020, we began developing that actual program. In 21, ADECA announced the first funding opportunity, infrastructure grants using the VW settlement money, and the legislature allocated some dollars towards that program as well. In 2022,
ADECA announced a second funding round of $2 million in state funds. ADECA also announced in 2023 that the third funding opportunity infrastructure grants for $2 more million. And in 2024, Alabama EV infrastructure plan was updated and additional opportunities for funding was announced. Just to give you an example, the EV projects that have been awarded at this particular point in time would be 43 in total. $8.5 million in state dollars that have been invested, with a match of $3.6 million. Now, we look at the types of chargers that are out there. Level 1 would be a 1 kilowatt power and takes the longest to fully charge. Josh and I were just talking about it earlier. Majority of all the charging for EVs are going to take place at home. And it's very important that we put in the infrastructure for these EVs, for these potential EV owners, so that they don't suffer from what we call range anxiety. Range anxiety would be equal to, if you're looking at that gas needle over there and it's going tick, 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 you got 50 miles per inch and you're looking for a different gas. So we want to give those opportunities to the EV owners the same as they would as for a gas powered vehicle. Not only that, but also keep in mind, and I'm deviating a bit from the type chargers that they are out there, but take this into consideration. One is, as a mayor and a former mayor, we always are looking for ways to develop those dollars without having to increase the sales tax revenue. And although convenience store owners make money on fuel and gasoline, but the majority of those dollars that are generated from the standpoint of tax are those soft items, such as soft drinks, crackers, candy bars, and things of that nature. So it's very important, from my perspective, if I were still a mayor, I would be trying to recruit every EV charging station that I could, because what does that do? That diversifies my opportunity to get that person to stop within my community, to spend that dollar, so that we, or president, I'm a has-been elected official, would not have to take and look at the opportunity of having increased sales tax. The second type level of charging station is called a level 2. It's between 3 and 20 kilowatts. It takes about 4 hours, and it will get you 100 miles. The last would be the level 3 charger, and we have focused on 2 and 3 charging stations. Which, if you were dead on empty from the standpoint of pulling up to the quote unquote charger, would be about 30 minutes. And the industry as a whole is trying to actually get it to the point that the chargers charge fast enough that they will mirror filling up a gasoline automobile. Charging standards. Automakers have announced that they are adopting the American Charging Standard connectors. Now, you ask why. The reason why is the industry was way ahead of everybody else, and Tesla was too. So naturally, the automobile makers don't want to take and be friends with anybody. They will compete against them. But in this case, for them to be able to stay up with the speed that EVs were developing and that they wanted to sell those EVs, they had to enter into an agreement with Tesla. And this is how they did that. And Ford was the first one to do that, to include General Motors, Honda, and, well, to believe it or not, Rolls-Royce. All right, give you an example. EV program information. You have direct current fast charge, and you have AC level 2 charge. From the standpoint of 2021, this gives you an example of the entry in this grant program. There were 76 applications. 18 million in requests. 18 were awarded, with $4.1 million worth of awards. 46, direct charge fast chargers were deployed. In 22, we had 126 applications, $11.8 million worth of requests, 18 applications were awarded. In 23, 49 were requests, or had 49 received applications. We had $7.3 million to award. We awarded 7 of those. As far as drive electric, you'll look at the map. You'll be interested to know in the Southeast Quadrant, Home Oil Company received $200,587 to install a 2-bay charging station at Hoboken Entry. In Geneva, the city of Geneva has received $33,840 to install a 4-day charging station on a lot at 614 Commerce Street. Enterprise Air Properties was awarded $200,259 to install a 2-bay electric charging station at the Legacy Food Mart on Bow Eagle Circle. In Dothan of 2023, EV grant to Dothan awarded in late summer for $118,974 to the city to install 2 charging stations at James Oaks Park. So that will give you an example on the map there at how we are deploying those dollars through the state. Now, we have been fortunate in this last year. The general fund received $4 more million. What we're focusing on, as you can look at from the map, is we're looking at in-state projects, municipalities, and counties. You'll see me talk about here in a few moments another opportunity that will be coming up in this called NEDI, National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Charging Program. But these are just pictures here on the screen to give you an example of fast charging stations. Those are the ones that are located in Montgomery Airport, and they're in Coleman, Alabama, and they have the capability of charging from empty to full within 30 minutes. Federal funding, you heard me refer to the NEDI opportunities. By formula, the federal government has allocated $79 million to the state of Alabama to deploy and to focus on the interstate routes. Out of that, the state has received out of that $79 million, $45 million total current. We partner, and I don't like to partner, but we partner, we're made to partner from time to time with other agencies, and Federal Highway Administration would be one of them. To give you an example, we like to think that we move pretty fast, and I think Holland would agree with that. Once you give us a mission, we try to get it implemented so that we can move on to the next program. Long story short, we actually graded the first round, which is $11 million, about 3 weeks ago. We had to send a list to Federal Highway Administration for them to agree to it. And we still haven't gotten an answer yet. But we hope that we'll be sending out those awards here soon. We're continually checking on that progress on a weekly basis. And for those that are interested, I would recommend that you contact your convenience store owners, hotel owners, and ask them to get into the grant program, because it is an 80-20 grant. 80-20, meaning the federal government will pay 80% and the recipient will only have to match 20%. That being said, 24 and beyond. The state updated the EV infrastructure plan in 2024. First round of grants for NEDI should be announced soon. Next state-funded EV infrastructure opportunities to be announced in the summer of 2024. And the next NEVI funding opportunity should be announced in the fall of this year. Now, I'm gonna close by giving you a few just things that you might want to think about. We're all used to combustible engines, and we're used to being able to maintain our highways, roads with gas tags. While EV owners do not pay the traditional gasoline tax, they do contribute to the road maintenance. EV owners are required to pay an annual registration fee as part of Governor Ivey's Rebuild Alabama Infrastructure Investment Program. The fee is intended to serve the purpose of replacing some of the lost gasoline taxes not collected from EV owners. The law reserves 25% of EV registration fees collected for EV charging infrastructure projects. The remaining 75% of the fees is to be distributed in the same manner for the same purposes of state gasoline taxes. It has been estimated that these fees could, let me emphasize, could generate between $22 million and $85 million per year by 2030, depending on the actual EV adoption of individuals located throughout across the nation. Ladies and gentlemen, let me close by saying thank you for what you do as individuals, for what you do collectively. I will tell you, without the people that's in this room, we would not have the beautiful state and the progressive state that we have. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Hopefully this has helped you, educate you on the progress that the state of Alabama is making, and would invite you to actually go to our website and look at opportunities that may provide you in the future, whether it be a municipality, a non-profit, or a county entity. Thank you for having me. I'll close there and say, do you have any questions of me? If not, I'll let Jason answer. Yes, sir. The one in the back.
Yeah, you said 26 million EVs projected by 2030.
That's what I said, but I don't know if that'll be true or not.
Sure. What percentage is that of vehicles that be on the road?
What percentage?
Yes, is that 2% of all the vehicles on the road, or like?
That's all I can tell you is that's nationwide. That is nationwide, so I have no clue as far as what percentage it is. If you rub me into it that way, then shoot you a line of bull. Yes.
So we've had a speaker from the power company here, and when I left that presentation, I kind of felt like the power company did not feel like they were ready with their infrastructure. What do you know about that, and what are they saying?
We work very closely with making sure that the grid, these places that these areas are put, it's not by mishap. It is one, they've got to be able to provide the power on a steady and reliable basis. But two is, this match has some things to do with it. But I think as we progress, from my perspective, whether you're looking at Alabama Power or TVA, or whether you're looking at the co-ops, they are progressing along steadily on it. So I think they've got a good grasp on it, to tell you the truth. I really do. Now, I can't speak to the locally owned systems such as Dothan and ADECA, but I would say that they're working just as hard in connectivity with big guys as they would be. Anyone? Yes, sir.
The special fees and stuff collected to offset the gasoline tax, is that expected to help compensate for the missed opportunities of people traveling through the state?
You know, go a little bit more in detail. When you say the fees,
As far as the fees, you say the registration type fees that are held to cover the gasoline tax, being shortfall from EVs not purchasing gas.
no, sir. And that's the reason I go back to my statement earlier, and I think what What I meant to say is these EV owners that are coming outside of the state, that is traveling through the state, what they're actually doing now, they have apps. From doing test, they have apps that are, they're going on a long trip. They'll plan their trips. So the more we deploy to our or not metropolitan, but our municipalities and counties, the more opportunities for those people to continue to stop and spend. As far as how it will impact Alabama from a road tax basis, I think that generation will help the generation of sales tax. I won't say it'll be a complete wash, but it will help go with the general fund to help from that opportunity. Anyone else?
Yeah.
Paul?
Obviously, I don't have an electric vehicle, but at these stations, is there a charge? Are they
Yeah.
charged?
They are, you can, one is credit card. It's credit card charged by kilowatt hour. And as I said earlier, the majority of the actual charging will be done in the home. Any other questions? Yeah.
Will this funding be available for nonprofits that run a fleet of vehicles, or is it strictly for public access?
Right now, it's just available to those for-profits such as convenience stores and the hotels. I'll tell you what, I ask for those nonprofits that are interested, turn the application in. We think outside the box. Anyone else? Now, naturally, I will say this, when it comes to federal money, and Paul can attest to this, and Paul, I'm not disrespecting you. You can do more with state money than you can do with federal money. So for your nonprofit, I would take and literally be applying for the state. It's a lot more flexible. I've got a lot more flexibility, if that makes sense. Anyone else?
I've been to the website that has a lot of this information on that the ADECA put together. I can't remember, but do you know offhand the number of registered EVs in Alabama?
Not at this particular point. It's a moving target, but I'd be happy with that information.
I think it's on the website. So
it probably, we try to keep it as current as possible. I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. When I tell you that we give away all her money, Representative Lee refers to me as the governor of checkbook. So I oversee several programs.
So is that registration fee something that's the annual fee that was discharged?
Jason, is that an annual fee?
And it's,
See, I like that.
Is it charged straight from the state or comes in the way through your county? You get your tax.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
So I work as a fielder and I'm on the road all day long. I would use more than 100 miles in a day. So I would say this is just an idea that if a Sonic or some kind of fast food place will have a charging station, and I can multitask, I can be charging my car for 30 minutes and I can be eating lunch, then I would do it 100%.
Good comment. One of the things, there are some stipulations that we put on the grants. One is for them to, we're focusing on the federal money and we're focusing on interstate. You have to be 1 mile off the interstates and have to be 50 miles. What we are looking at both, what we do both statewide and with the federal government, is we're looking for you to have that opportunity, which you make a good point, to stop. Bucky's are big with these EV charging stations. We've awarded them as well. We've awarded Love's truck stops, things that nature, that you have access to food and to amenities such as restrooms, well lit, and that you can get to those areas 24 hours a day. So yes, ma'am, that is one of the criteria. I'm not so sure that we're focusing right now so heavily on restaurants as we are probably more convenience stores. Okay. Jim Wade is here. He can apply for one.
I can apply for one?
Yeah. Huh. You got stores along. And let me also tell you what we do. We try to prep and we do things. We really do think this. We think that out of that $79 million that is allocated to the state of Alabama, that we think that there's going to be money left from the interstates. So what did we do? We made a proactive move with feds that says, hey, look, if we do have it, we're being proactive. We'd rather ask now than wait till we have that money and stand the chance possibly having to send it back. Is if we have money after we meet your criteria with the federal funds, with the interstates, can we move that to state highway? The answer has been yes. So 231, for example, you're right there on Troy, Ozark. Long story short, there's going to hopefully be a lot of opportunities. And again, you would be a good, and I hate to pick on, but I thought it might be a good resource that state money would be a good opportunity. Anyone else? This has been very engaging. I've enjoyed it. Did not expect this many questions. So y'all on top of the ball. John, congratulations. It's good to see you as always. It's been a long time. Thank y'all for having me.
Thank you, Mr. Boswell, for being with us today, providing education. Thanks for all you do for the state of Alabama. Next week, we will host Miss Kylie Spears. She is with a nonprofit called Meredith's Miracles. So she will be with us next week. I want to say thank you to those that helped put on today's program. Thank you for the guests for being with us. With that, please stand for our four-way test. Of the things we think, say, do. Shine the light, Rotary.